Let's do this thing called the neutral ground. Yeah, you're right. Corey Johnson back at you on a Monday. Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latinx, is at the controls. We love the Tulane and LSU games over the weekend. I know it's New Orleans, but the New Orleans teams, the college team and the pro team, El Stinko, El Egg Layer. Not a good weekend for you, Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latinx.
Not sports-wise, no, but still a pretty good weekend.
No, exactly. Yeah, we'll talk a little Saints, talk a little of that in the 5 o'clock powwow in about an hour and a half from now when Brett Martell joins us. Another Martell Monday. Brett Martell's with the Associated Press and has been for a very, very long time. Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latinx, real quick. The LSU annual opponents, the SEC's, going to 3 permanent opponents, hoping it would have been Ole Miss, Texas A&M, and Alabama. And it's Ole Miss, Texas A&M, and Arkansas. So LSU will only play Alabama every 2 years, and they'll play them in Tiger Stadium only every 4 instead of every other year. So it's getting stretched out an extra year. Alabama, Florida won't be annual opponents anymore for LSU, and that sucks. I liked Alabama and Florida being annual opponents for LSU.
It's sad, but it kind of is what it is,
Yeah.
I understand it. It's not Nick Saban versus Les Miles anymore.
No, but still, just the LSU-Florida matchup. I like that the West opponent back in the day, or the East opponent, I should say, back in the day for LSU was Florida annually.
Yes.
That was pretty good stuff. So
Time to forge new rivalries. LSU, I think, doesn't really have a true rival. Like throughout different eras, they've had rivals.
Yep.
Like my mom, she went and said it was A&M.
No, and they moved the Ole Miss game from Halloween a few years back, and that kind of wrecked that.
Yeah, at least they still got Ole Miss, right?
Yep. No, that's their biggest rival, but Ole Miss's biggest rival is Mississippi State, probably.
Yeah, that's true.
Not LSU. Anyway, we'll talk a little sports later. That's Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latinx. He's fielding your phone calls at 766-9480. That's how you dial us up. 766-9480 is the phone number. Yeah, I need your input this afternoon. Got a good question. We're 2 weeks out from this Saturday, or 19 days away. 2 weeks out from this Saturday, 19 days away from today, October 11th, Election Day in New Orleans. Moreno, Thomas, Duplessis. It's down to about 12 to 15% in the, quote, undecided category. Who are you voting for and why? 766-9480. You're voting for New Orleans mayor. You live in New Orleans, Orleans Parish. You vote in Orleans Parish. 766-9480. Who are you voting for? What needs to be discussed in this election that is not being discussed? 766-9480. 766-9480. Jimmy Kimmel returns to ABC tomorrow night. I'm assuming he's going to get some big ratings, I'm guessing. I'm thinking about this. I don't think I've ever watched Jimmy Kimmel in my life. Now, I've seen him on social media with some clip that's, 90 seconds, 60 seconds, whatever. But I've never sat there and watched his show. Anyway, I'm imagining he's going to have big ratings when he returns tomorrow night. Folks that like him and folks that don't like him, and folks that maybe like me that have never watched his show that might tune in if I remember to. But then, I know I'll catch the monologue or something later on social media, and that's all I probably need to catch. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever watched that show live or any of those shows live, any of the late night shows. 766-9480. 766-9480. What do you think about Jimmy Kimmel returning to the ABC airwaves? I'll say this. You can, and maybe Jimmy Kimmel did lie. Like maybe he knew exactly what was going on and decided to say Charlie Kirk's murderer was a right-wing person. that was like part of MAGA and the Republican Party. Maybe he knew exactly what was going on and chose to lie. I don't think that was the case. I'm not saying what Jimmy Kimmel did was right. What Jimmy Kimmel did was wrong, but I think at a lesser level than if he lied. If he lied, it's just egregious and ridiculous. What he did already is egregious and ridiculous, but it's a left-leaning show. Like Fox News leans right. Greg Gutfeld and his show at that time slot, they get like the same ratings, like 2.5 million viewers each. Basically the same ratings. Gutfeld's show is right-leaning, and Jimmy Kimmel is kind of a liberal type guy, leans very left. Just from the clips I've seen, and of course who he is. But I think Jimmy Kimmel assumed and wanted to believe what he wanted to believe, what he hoped was true. Like I often say about a lot of folks. I mentioned this last week, Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman. Before we knew any facts, just that Trayvon Martin was black and was shot and killed, and George Zimmerman was either white or Latino. White is what most folks thought in the beginning. And the name, too, George Zimmerman wasn't, Jorge Gonzalez. It was George Zimmerman. So the white folks that want to hope what they hope is true, want what they want is true, not what the facts say, hoping, wanting to believe. These white folks that race is important to them, they immediately were like, Zimmerman's right. And what's Trayvon Martin doing in that neighborhood? Like crap like that. I'm like, man, how are these people assuming all this? We don't know anything. And then you had some black folks that immediately lashed out, went with assumptions, like these white folks that lashed out and were like, Trayvon Martin, a kid in a neighborhood. Who's this George Zimmerman guy that shot and killed him? Just some black on white crime. So right off the bat, the black folks and white folks commenting, I mean, first off, they assumed, they didn't even know Zimmerman's Latino. They were like saying black on white crime and, why is the black guy in the white neighborhood? All this kind of stuff. So I guess one side, if it's a cut and dried issue and somebody's totally right, someone's totally wrong, someone's going to be right and someone's going to be wrong, assuming and guessing ahead of the time, In this case, I mean, there was so much stuff that came out. He's a registered Republican. He's a registered Democrat, and he's not registered to in any party. He is registered to vote, but no party affiliation. That's what the truth was. And in the beginning, it was he's some leftist, and then it flipped over to, no, he's an extreme right-winger. He's from Utah. He's white. His family's Trump supporters. They're conservative. They're Republicans. You would think the kid is too. So Kimmel was pouncing on that. The hardcore right was saying it's a leftist off the original thing. And then reality hits, and Kimmel's wrong. But the Jimmy Kimmel lied part, and I think it's elevating it to this level that, I mean, if there are facts behind it where Kimmel's like, I admit I knew the truth and went the other way. First off, when he made his diatribe, the monologue to start his show, no one knew all the details yet. So he couldn't have known and lied. He couldn't have known and lied at that point. And no one on the right that got it right, that it was a leftist leaning guy, arguably, they weren't right because they were assuming too and could have easily has been as wrong as Kimmel was. So I'm not trying to cut Jimmy Kimmel any slack. Like I said in the beginning, I've never watched his program. Don't care if he's on the air or not. I don't care. I don't watch Jimmy Kimmel. If I thought Jimmy Kimmel was like some super talented, funny guy, just me personally, if I thought that, I'd be watching him. This, for whatever reason, not attracted to that show. With that said, I don't think Jimmy Kimmel lied. I don't think it needs to be amplified. But yeah, Jimmy Kimmel assumed and went with, making fun of the right, that you thought this guy was a leftist. He ends up being a right-wing guy. It's like, no, you're wrong. And you're assuming. So Jimmy Kimmel returns to ABC tomorrow night. I'm imagining he's going to have big ratings. I doubt I'll be watching because I never really watch it. Boy, some good news. I think we've seen the last of the 90s. I'm not talking about the 90s decade, which I guess a lot of folks are like, I hope we've seen the last of that. No, I'm talking about the temperatures. I don't think we're going to see 90s again till like late April, hopefully not until May, ideally like June, but it'll probably be May or even late April. But I think we've seen the last of it. We got 2 seasons in New Orleans, summer and non-summer. And we're sort of jettisoning summer right now, and we're embracing the non-summer for the next 5 or 6 months. 766-9480. That's the phone number to dial us up. I'll take that non-summer weather. Faux show. 766-9480. I said faux show. 766-9480. Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latinx, wants to say something. Let's hope it's good and riveting.
I think it's pronounced pho show.
Oh, pho?
Yes.
Oh, like pho?
Yes, like F-A. You got it.
Pho? Like the...
Pho show. Yeah.
Like the food pho?
Yeah. Yes.
Not pho.
Not pho.
Not faux show.
No.
That's like an older square dude trying to be cool.
That sounds like the 90s. Yes.
Wow. Thanks for the insult, Mario Brothers.
And
Show.
Anytime, brother. For sure.
For show. For show. Coming right back, New Orleans. Faux show? Question mark?
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com.
Word is, one of the best restaurants in New Orleans isn't even in New Orleans. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Cross the lake and taste what you're missing. Tuesday through Saturday. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
As New Orleans as coffee in the morning and as New Orleans as coffee in the morning and raw oysters for lunch. It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground.
Hey, the area code is 504. The phone number's 766-9480. Light up those lines, 766-9480. Jimmy Kimmel returns to ABC tomorrow night. Rob is in New Orleans. What up, Rob?
Yeah, Corey, you're talking about Tyler Robinson, and I want to say, like, it's so true. Both Trump and Jimmy Kimmel, like, immediately jumped on and blaming it on the other side. And it seems apparent. I mean, this guy wasn't registered to vote for either party, didn't vote in general elections. This guy's psychotic. I mean, a lot of times people that do that kind of thing are clearly psychotic, and I don't know that they represent a political movement. But I do want to say this just real quick before I want to talk about your interview with Royce Duplessis. But I called in last week about the Saints with a moment of silence, and I said it was inappropriate. And one thing I didn't get to say was, why do they have a moment of silence for the kids who get killed in the shootings? That's where I wanted to go. And the last thing, I was listening to you with Dan Reel, and he said one of the problems with our society is social media and these people with no experience, take on, undue importance. And I must say that is kind of what Charlie Kirk was, because this is a guy who belittles higher education. He's no expert on, governmental affairs, but obviously I don't think he deserved to die. And once again, Tyler Robinson was psychotic and not a political ideologue. But if you got a second, I listened to your interview with Royce Duplessis, and right after that, I saw on TV his ad, which I hadn't seen, the ad where, the racially, of the overtones of race in there.
Yeah.
And, it's pretty, I don't know much about the guy. I follow New Orleans politics. I really don't follow the state legislature, even my own district. But I'm not impressed to see that. And by the way, Oliver's doing it too. He's got signs that say our city. So both of them are going right there. And I think it could backfire, because I think if anyone came out and said Helena Moreno's a racist, they'd be in trouble. But I want to just say something. I called in on your interview when he said that he and Jeff Landry worked to bring down insurance rates. I was like, really? Because I don't know. And I called, and I was the one that asked about the auto and why didn't they do anything to rein in the trial attorneys and the ads. And he said on your show, he said he was talking about insurance, and he said, yeah, we have really bad roads. And then that night I saw a clip from his WWL debate where he mocked Helena Moreno and said, people aren't moving out because of potholes. So this guy's really talking out of both sides of his mouth. And I know people that have moved out of here because of potholes. But do you remember that on your show when he said, in the context of insurance, we have really bad roads?
No, and he right away he blamed the insurance company. It was almost like defending the advertising injury attorneys. I had to like double down my comment and told I have nothing against attorneys. It's these attorneys, and we all know who they are, the obnoxious ones that advertise. And Temple, the insurance commissioner, had him on the program. I'm not siding with him. I'm just saying he made a great point, because I was saying these advertising attorneys, it promotes suing. It promotes making a claim when maybe there really isn't one, or exaggerating or embellishing, at least, if not outright lying. And he made a great point. It also tells people, like, you need to hire an attorney to make a claim. It insinuates that as well. So it's really bad. We have no control of that. No laws changed to put a choke chain on those, rabid dogs. And that's still a problem. And I mentioned to Royce, we have twice as many accidents. The same amount of accidents, the same amount as everywhere else, obviously, the same amount of damage. It's no different, except we have twice the claims as everywhere else in America on average, because it's a happy litigation environment. It's promoting suing. It's pathetic, and it's obvious. It's friggin' obvious. And the leaders in Baton Rouge, They get paid a lot of money. I remember they're trying to eliminate advertising on billboards, and the billboard companies, lobbyists paid off the politicians, the injury attorneys that advertise paid off the politicians, and they squashed that, So it's anytime we try to put a choke chain on that rabid dog, the rabid dog has lobbyists that take the, these supposed leaders in Baton Rouge on some little, trip to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse off College Drive or whatever, and that sways their vote the other way. It's pathetic.
Well, Corey, do you remember on your show with your interview with him when he bragged about working with Jeff? I think you asked him how does he work with Jeff Landry, and he said, "Well, Jeff Landry and I brought insurance rates down," and that's when I called in because I was like, "What did you do? About the injury ads?" And then he said something like, "I'm an attorney too." He seemed to get offended in this whole thing, and then he said, "I'm not just a politician. I've got all this experience." It was kind of like private sector, but everything he said wasn't really private sector. But I want to say one last thing about him, and I'm learning about him. I'm friends with someone on Facebook, and I could tell you the name if you want to look it up. And she's making a point that he worked for Entergy, and at the same time, and he scrubbed this off from his website, worked for the law firm that was advising the city council on rate increases when there were tremendous rate increases, like places, particularly in Algiers. And she had all these records of money that he had received from Entergy. And also, by the way, at the same time, Jeff Landry did. So I think if he gets into a runoff or whatever, I think the Entergy, his association with Entergy is not going to reflect well on him. But anyway, Corey, I just wanted to comment. But yeah, thank you for having him on, and I commend him for coming on because some people are too afraid to even do that.
No, I thank you, Rob. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for listening. No, and thanks for the call during the interview. No, I commend Royce too, not only for coming on, but coming live in studio. Told him call anytime. He can come on anytime he wants before the October 11th election, which, by the way, is 2 weeks from this Saturday, 19 days away. 766-9480. Rob mentioned, hey, the kid shooting, why wasn't that, brought up as much as Charlie Kirk? Some things move the needle and some things don't. And it's not like media's fault. Media could have pushed the school shooting thing more, and it wouldn't have gained as much traction as Charlie Kirk did organically and naturally. So I don't make the rules. I wish I did. I could generate, millions of viewers and listeners to the program tomorrow if I made the rules. No, it's just how it works. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. Jimmy Kimmel returns to ABC tomorrow night. What do you think of that? 766-9480. There's a lot of folks, I don't know, sometimes folks screw up like Jimmy Kimmel did, and that's not good enough. Like, need to ramp it up. And it's like Jimmy Kimmel lied. Jimmy Kimmel lied, like making him this like devil character. Jimmy Kimmel's liberal, doesn't I don't think he thought Charlie Kirk was some great person, probably disagreed with 90% of what Charlie Kirk was about. I don't think he was happy that Charlie Kirk got murdered. But what Jimmy Kimmel was laughing about or making a joke about is the hardcore right, the opposite of him. He's a liberal, woke Hollywood type, if you want to call him that. The opposite of him, the hardcore right, is like you were saying, it was a right-winger, that, MAGA guy that killed Charlie Kirk. It wasn't. It was a leftist. And they're infuriated with that. And Kimmel went with it like it was reality because he wanted it to be that way. He hoped it was that way. The information he had received when we had no final, fact-based info to come to a logical conclusion, the info he had, he felt was good enough and went with it and was wrong. He assumed. And during that exact time frame when he was doing that, the hardcore right was saying it's a left-wing guy. You can go, they knew, or you can go, Corey's saying there wasn't enough information. No one knew. And they just happened to guess right. What they wanted or hoped was true ended up being true. 766-9480. Rob in New Orleans says it best. It's some lunatic, some crazy person, someone that, when someone commits suicide, folks want answers, like logical 2 + 2 = 4 answers. It's like they committed suicide. The brain wasn't working right. For them at that time, 2 + 2 = banana. 2 + 2 = cinder block. I mean, 2 plus 2 equaled spaghetti and meatballs. No idea. There's no logic to it. And someone like Tyler Robinson that goes and, shoots Charlie Kirk, some irrational, mentally broken person that needed to be, on medication at the very least, if not, more, not mentally right. He shot Charlie Kirk at an engagement at a college. I mean, that's normal behavior. That's someone who just got radicalized on the left. I mean, that's someone who's insane. It's a little more extreme than, the political thing. And that's what's sickening too. Like, folks, it's kind of funny. I mean, I bring this up. Trump says autism's hooked to Tylenol during pregnancy, taking Tylenol during pregnancy. It's just, throwing stuff out on the wall, hoping it sticks. This one I don't even understand, but science says otherwise, that it's this worldwide studies, Tylenol is used everywhere around the world. During pregnancy, it's highly recommended over aspirin and other things that can cause problems that we know for sure. Anyway, so no, I think the hardcore right, they wanted to believe, they hoped it was true, and they got it right. And Kimmel, wanting to be true, got it wrong. So he didn't lie. He assumed, and he's an idiot for doing it and jumped the gun. But that's all it was. It wasn't him lying. It wasn't him trying to incite. It wasn't some planned thing. So no, the bigger story is the FCC. They were as egregious as Jimmy Kimmel, just in a different way. They're like, hey, ABC, you better fix Jimmy Kimmel or we'll fix you, is essentially what they said. Almost like mob, like Ted Cruz was saying that. Staunch conservative was mentioning like Goodfellas and like Sopranos, and like it was like a mob thing. I think his analogy he used like was a bar as an example. Like, we're taking part of the business, so the bar doesn't exist. Whatever you want to do, bar owner. We're partners or it doesn't exist. Your call. 766-984-80 is how you dial us up. Love to hear from you. No, Jimmy Kimmel didn't lie. Jimmy Kimmel assumed. But ABC, my God, the dog starts bark and they are so afraid of the bite. Once again, just, okay, we'll pull Jimmy Kimmel because the FCC's threatening to come after us. No, the FCC director's wrong. Jimmy Kimmel's wrong. 766-984-80. Hey, 2 weeks from Saturday, New Orleans is going to elect potentially a new mayor, may not even need a runoff. Who are you voting for and why? 766-984-80. Holla.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
South Shore residents that love good food are making the short trip across the lake to Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. North Shore folks have known about Gallagher's 527 for years. Now the South Shore has discovered this hidden gem. One of the metro area's best restaurants is less than 30 minutes away. Take the quick trip across the lake and experience Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. As good as it gets.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live, we live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now.
Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters. Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson, where the grass hasn't been cut in weeks or months. There's a lot of trash and garbage on the neutral ground, maybe even a person or two taking a nap. And oh, someone didn't pick up the dog
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you on a Monday. I can't believe this is still going on, Mario Brothers. The Gambit Best Of, which isn't a poll. It's just people that fill out the thing and send it in. When I used to work at WWL Radio down the dial, like literally, I knew when the polls started because every salesperson would walk in with a stack of Gambits, like 40 of them. And they would fill out the part where, best radio personalities, and management would literally tell them the top 3 to put in there. And then Gambit started like, if you don't fill out half of the thing, we don't count your ballot. So then the directive was still put in these radio talents for the top 3 radio talent, but we need to answer 50% of the other questions or they won't take our ballot. So here are our clients that pay to advertise, put them in as best of this, best of that, best of this. And from what I understand, they're still doing that where the poor sales team, like instead of going out and selling radio ads on one half a day, they're filling out Gambits by hand and sending them in to win the best of thing.
Oh, wow.
And here's the kicker. That's funny. The number 1 talk radio station in New Orleans is WRNO, the conservative talk station. Like in the male demographic, 25 to 54, it's like 2-1. They're the number 1 talk station in town with all the hardcore conservative right-wing stuff, 99.5. I don't even know what's on it. Mark Levin, Hannity, Rush's replacement, that kind of stuff. So that's number 1 in New Orleans. Anyway, this is New Orleans radio, where there are 2 AM talk show hosts that work for the government. One works for the state and one works for the sheriff's department. And both have on the people they work for on their show and praise them and bash that person's competition or anyone that's bashing the person they get a paycheck from. So you have not 1, but 2 AM talk show hosts in New Orleans that work for the government and go to bat for the person that writes the check to them and bashes the person that writes the check to them's competition or anyone irritating their boss. That's a slight conflict of interest. Anyway, speaking of best of, I think this one was much more organic. I don't think the chef or Scott Craig or the wait staff were filling out Gambits and putting Katie's as the number 1 neighborhood restaurant in New Orleans. I think that was real. One of the few in that top, best of that's legitimate. No, I mean, what do you got thousands of people voting, so there's no way a little mom and pop like Katie's is going to be able to manipulate that. Don't have a sales staff they can put to work filling out 40 ballots. They got lunch to serve. Yeah, Katie's was number one neighborhood restaurant. If you go to Katie's like right now at 4:40 on a Monday afternoon, there will be characters in there that got off work like 1:30, 2:30, 3 o'clock, 3:30. They get off in the middle of the day and they plop down at the bar at Katie's, have a drink or two, have some food, enjoy themselves. Bunch of New Orleans characters. And they don't live in the mid-city neighborhood, and that's their neighborhood bar. They might live in Metairie, Jefferson Parish, and that's their neighborhood bar. Might be from down in St. Bernard, and Katie's is their neighborhood bar and restaurant because it's the quintessential New Orleans restaurant, the quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant. USA today had a top 10 list. It wasn't, all high-end restaurants. It was all different kinds of restaurants, from like a little po' boy stand to super high-end. 10 restaurants you have to go to if you're visiting New Orleans and you want an authentic New Orleans experience. Katie's was one of the 10. I'm a New Orleans native. I think that's legit. Sending tourists to Katie's is a great taste of New Orleans. We get to go anytime we want. Like tonight, why aren't you at Katie's right now? Iberville, corner Talamacus on a Monday night. Katie's for dinner. I think we've seen the last of the 90s. Our non-summer season starting. We got 2 seasons, summer and non-summer. 2 weeks from this Saturday, or 19 days away, October 11th, Election Day in New Orleans. I want your input, 766-9480. Who are you voting for and why? Who are you voting for and why? 766-9480. What needs to be discussed that is not being discussed? We know the big topics. They're easy. They're easy. Crime and infrastructure, education. They're the ones that apply to any city USA. Crime, education, infrastructure, economy. And I'm not saying they're easy to solve in a city in New Orleans where all 4 are broken. But there are things that are unique to New Orleans that none of these mayoral candidates are discussing, and I think they're pretty important, like UNO, the University of New Orleans. You can go, I'm the mayor, or I'm running for council, whatever, and, that's a state entity. I hear you. But it is a wasted entity that's the University of New Orleans, our city, and it should have tens of thousands of students and be not only educating kids from all around the world, but be a great economic engine for the city. 766-9480. How about a clean city? New Orleans is one of the filthiest. The mindset of the citizens in the metro needs to change. Stop throwing your crap out the car window. Stop littering. Let's clean the city. Let's have the strictest litter laws and enforce them. Change the mindset. Now, when the city becomes clean, people will stop littering. I talk about we be digging. If I were running for mayor, I'd be explaining that motto all the time. People would know what we be digging means. We be digging. There'd be signs all over New Orleans. We be digging. Big holes for retention ponds, for water features where gravity drains our city when it rains. We can't pump our way out of flooding. Look at Jefferson Parish or St. Bernard with much more modern pumping systems, outfall canals, all that, and they flood when the rain comes down. If enough rain comes down, it's going to flood. Can't pump our way out of it. We need retention ponds, water features. Wagoner and Ball Engineering, an architectural firm. Just Google it. Wagoner and Ball, New Orleans water plan. It'll pull up something from over a decade ago. If you look at the plan, you're going to be blown away. The artist renderings of these areas that you recognize in New Orleans are absolutely gorgeous, beautiful. They would attract people, attract money, businesses, homes all around them. Only a plus. Only a plus. No, we be digging big holes, retention ponds, water features all over the metro. Follow the water plan that Wagoner and Ball architects and engineers did over a decade ago. No one's mentioning that. Tree canopy. You're like, what's Corey talking about? Trees. We're in the top of the subtropic zone. We're in a marsh, a wetland. We should be the lushest, greenest city in America. We have like an 18% tree canopy in New Orleans. 18%. Memphis, Tennessee is nearly 40, like 37, 38%. Atlanta, Georgia's 47% tree canopy. We have 18%. New Orleans has lost 1/3 of all its trees in the last 20 years because of storms and drought, whatever, termites. 1/3. No, we should be a lush green city. Besides it lowering the temperature of the city, literally, the greener, more trees, lower temperatures in summer, the concrete jungle downtown, French Quarter in blistering. And each tree, especially big trees, mature trees, they absorb hundreds of gallons of water when it rains, hundreds of gallons of water. They're drinking it up. They absorb it. Hundreds of gallons. It's flood mitigation. It's lowering the temperature. It's making the city more beautiful. No one's talking about trees. No one's talking about we be digging, retention ponds, big holes, small holes, trees everywhere. Who doesn't love oak trees? They should be everywhere. Reimagine Bourbon Street. Has anyone ever mentioned that besides me ever? We don't have to accept Bourbon Street as this dump we avoid. We don't go down there as citizens for a reason. It sucks. It sucks. And it's not a big tourist generator. Folks aren't spending a lot of money on Bourbon Street. They're going down there and going, this sucks. And they're going to other parts of the Quarter or New Orleans. They're not hanging out on, man, we were down in New Orleans for 7 days. We stayed in the Quarter. We were at Bourbon Street every night. Then they don't know the city. They're eating at, Bubba Gump Shrimp Factory too. No, you go to Frenchman, you go to Oak Street, you go uptown, you go to the Warehouse District, you go to other parts of the city, mid-city, you dine and listen to music and do what we do in New Orleans. You don't stay on Bourbon Street. There's a reason we don't go down there as locals. It sucks. It's a toilet. It's a disgrace. And the worst part, most of it's cash money. So the city's not even getting the fair share of taxes. No, you need to change the environment, change the element, the demographic. Kenny and Sally coming down in the truck and parking on the outskirts of the Quarter and walking in and getting a couple of daiquiris and walking up and down the street and spending $38 between them. That's not any kind of economic impact. And that's what Bourbon Street is. Nothing, no money being spent. It should be jazz clubs and outdoor cafes going late into the night, connecting to Royal Street. Royal Street, they put up like cages on the windows and the doors. Don't throw throw your glass through the window and steal our antiques. They shut down. Boop. Royal Street at like 6 p.m. every night. Those side streets connecting Bourbon and Royal should be lit up for those blocks in between, like, St. Louis Cathedral and Canal Street. Connect the streets. Late night. High-end dollars, folks buying art and armoires and getting them shipped out of town and, buying a part of New Orleans and bringing it home. And the money that's going to be spent where we locals would want to go to Bourbon Street. We would go to the jazz clubs, the music places, the outdoor restaurants, the cafes. Lit up, bright, police presence, laissez-faire attitude, do what you want. No one's stopping you from partying in New Orleans. Not cramping your style or the show. No, reimagining Bourbon Street. No, those are just a few. UNO, Clean City, retention ponds, trees, reimagining Bourbon Street. Not hearing too much of that from any of the mayoral candidates. Hey, Latrim has a culture of innovation in their hiring. Go to the Latrim website. I do this every few months because I just love Latrim and the story. It's incredible. If we had like a dozen Latrims, we'd be booming. They employ like 1,500 in Metro New Orleans. Their website doesn't have like 3 or 4 job openings, dozens and dozens and dozens of job openings. A career for you. Latrim.com for a full listing of positions available. Latrim.com. Go to the website right now for a new career.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Word is, one of the best restaurants in New Orleans isn't even in New Orleans. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Cross the lake and taste what you're missing. Tuesday through Saturday, Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville.
Isn't it time to have that dream backyard you've always wanted? LGD Lawn and Landscapes can make it happen with artificial turf installation. Synthetic turf gives you the look and feel of natural grass. You get a beautiful lawn without the ongoing expenses of maintenance and no puddles, meaning you won't be tracking grass or dirt into the house. Let LGD come to your house and give you a free estimate. NOLALGD.com.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters, and you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now.
Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Hey, Marigny, Bywater, Treme, French Quarter, CBD, Warehouse District, Garden District, Irish Channel. It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground, where New Orleans is heard.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. 766-9480. You could be checking us out on radio, checking us out on television, checking us out on YouTube, checking us out on Twitter, on X, at Corey Johnson, right now live on Twitter. Check it out. Yeah, I don't get this. This is strange. I'm always trying to figure out, like, is it direct? Is it indirect? Read between the lines. Donald Trump says Tylenol taken during pregnancy can lead to autism. A definitive link. Science says otherwise. Science has decades of studies worldwide on this and says, no, it does not. The opposite. You don't want to take aspirin and other pain relievers when you're a female. Not a male that's pregnant, you woke folks, but a female that's pregnant. You don't want to take other drugs. Tylenol is what you want to take. And RFK Jr. and Donald Trump, they're saying, Tylenol, this is the big thing that they were talking about last month. RFK Jr., next month, we're going to have a huge, announcement. It's like the doctors, the science community, the researchers, the scientists. It is a science in like politics. You think politics is scrutinized? It's a joke. Science, you have scientists that come up with a theory. And then you have other scientists that all they do is try to prove their peer wrong. Peer review. It's just constant and always happening. But then there's a thing like a consensus where the vast majority of scientists that actually study this, not scientists that don't study it and have no knowledge of the topic at all, or worse, politicians My God. Politicians, like, when their mouths move and they're lying, I'm going to believe them on stuff that's science and doctor related. So no, I'm not worried about if I had a girlfriend or wife and she was pregnant and had a headache and she wanted to take Tylenol, I'd be like, take Tylenol if that's what the doctor says. That's it. This other one, the leucovorin, which is vitamin B9 essentially, that, they're touting it as like this autism game changer. Science has always said in some applications with autistic, folks, it helps. So this is nothing new, but it's not this game changer. Like, hey, we just came out with this new drug. Science agrees with that, but not at the level you're talking about. And then science does not agree with Tylenol during pregnancy leads to autism. The opposite. Science says there's no proof of that at all. 766-9480. No, when I'm talking about like Trump reading between the lines, I'm like, what's the incentive for him to say this? He didn't maybe he just believes it. And RFK, they believe it. And they think it's revolutionary. And they're shocked scientists and doctors don't buy into this. And they're going to push this. And they'll be heroes. I don't know. I don't think it's that. I think there's something else. I don't know, like the Tylenol parent company did something to Trump. I have no idea. I don't know. But something's going to come out from that because it's just going to go away. But if I'm the Tylenol company, I'm like suing Trump and the federal government for, you're a major mover and shaker, obviously, and you're going to, hurt our business by basically saying something you think but isn't true. And the science isn't there to back what you're saying up. 766-9480. The Saints get ripped in Seattle. The Green Wave gets ripped in Oxford. LSU wins big versus Southeastern of Hammond, Louisiana. Brett Martell's going to join us in about 45 minutes. The back end of the 5 o'clock power hour. Another Martell Monday. Brett Martell will join us. The Royal Sonesta in the quarter remains closed after a 3-alarm fire. That was yesterday in the morning. The Royal Sonesta, I think, has like 450 rooms. It's a big hotel. Mario Brothers, you were down in the quarter staying in a hotel with your lady friend, weren't you?
I was down the street. I was literally right down the street when that happened.
All the evacuation, you saw all that going down?
Checking out was an absolute nightmare. It delayed us like 2 hours.
Had to, because folks were checking into your hotel that were, in the Royal Sonesta. They had to spread them out to all these other hotels in the quarter.
I would assume. I saw people not like running out, but walking out saying they could smell it from the stairwell. Like they could smell the fire in the stairwell.
Yeah, you did a staycation this weekend?
Yeah.
One night or two in the quarter?
It was one night. I honestly got a comp room from a buddy and used it this weekend.
Wow, a comp. Nice. Mm-hmm. Taking advantage.
Yep. Saints were on the road.
Nice, man. Good deal. Mm-hmm. The fraud trial is underway for former 911 director Tyrell Morris. You remember he apparently was loaded, got in a wreck, avoided DWI, changed the rules on some sheet. Like, don't have to get this investigated necessarily. Just like change stuff after the fact. No, he's going to be found guilty. Tyrell Morris was actually running for mayor for like a month and then pulled out of that. What a joke. Tyrell Morris, another clown that was part of New Orleans city government, probably making six figures. New Orleans has a lot of clowns in city government. Making six figures, sure. Not earning it. I play golf with a guy. What'd you have on that hole? I had a 4. What'd you have on that hole? Give me a bogey. That means he didn't have a bogey. I had a 4 means he had a 4. Give me a bogey means he had a 6 or a 7. Just be truthful. No, these folks that, you're making $100,000, you're laying in bed at night, your maker's there, and you're like, Corey's right. I don't do anything at the city. I just pull a paycheck and don't do anything. At least be realistic about what you do and who you are. Don't be in denial. 766-9480. 766-9480. That'd be another mayoral thing, like shrinking the workforce in the city. We're understaffed and under budgeted downtown. It's the opposite. And get out of that old dysfunctional city hall building and move into a brand new state-of-the-art city hall like in Central City. That's like a third of the size. Still hot out there, even though I think we've jettisoned the 90s. Still hot in New Orleans, in Baton Rouge. If you need air conditioning help anytime, weekday, weekend, overnight, holiday, Total Maintenance is there. In New Orleans, in Baton Rouge, fair and honest Lucas and the boys, air conditioning experts that come immediately. Blue Boy knows if you need air conditioning help in New Orleans or Baton Rouge, think Total Maintenance. TM-AC.com. That's Blue Boy saying stick around. We got a lot more coming your way. The 5 o'clock power hour is next. Stick around. What, Blue Boy? Down, buddy, down. They're sticking around.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 5 p.m.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Artificial turf custom golf putting greens. Beautiful, functional, zero maintenance. Call New Orleans' own LGD Lawn and Landscapes and get your free estimate. My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
South Shore residents that love good food are making the short trip across the lake to Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. North Shore folks have known about Gallagher's 527 for years. Now the South Shore has discovered this hidden gem. One of the metro area's best restaurants is less than 30 minutes away. Take the quick trip across the lake and experience Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. As good as it gets.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And
You'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it.
let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now.
Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love. More. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's called more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. 5 o'clock power hours upon us on a Monday. Kaboom goes the dynamite. I think we've seen the last of the 90s, and I'm not talking about the 1990s, which a lot of people are like, yeah, I think we've seen the last of that. I'm talking about the temperatures. Slightly lower temperatures. My evening walks with Tolley are much nicer. I'm not perspiring through my clothing. I think, you know, we got 2 seasons in New Orleans. We don't have 4 seasons. My sister lives in Virginia. She gets 4 seasons. Like 90 days of fall, 90 days of winter, 90 days of spring, 90 days of summer. I mean, it's like a loop every year. And it falls pretty much in that, like 3 months of each season. They are all different. They are all distinct, distinguishable. New Orleans, we have 2 seasons. We have summer and non-summer. Now, non-summer, we can get some cold days and a wintry, you know, spell and something like that. I mean, hell, we got 12 inches of snow last year. That was insane. Or last winter, earlier this year. That was nutty. Never seen that in my life. We may never see it again. So no, we can get winter type weather, but essentially what you're wearing now, you'll be wearing it at least for some days every month until we go back to the summer season, like late April or May. So it's summer and non-summer, and we're fading into the non-summer season. Thumbs up. Enough weather talk, Margaret Orr. Let's move on. 2 weeks from this Saturday, or 19 days away, New Orleans might elect a new mayor. At the very least, there'll be a runoff between 2 candidates. October 11th, Election Day in New Orleans, Moreno, Thomas, Duplessis. Who are you voting for and why? The undecided's like down to like 12, 15% tops. Who are you voting for and why? 766-9480 is how you dial us up. 766-9480. 766-9480. Mario Brothers, dial us up. What do you think about that expression?
I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
What do you think that means?
Dial us up, like dial the phone number.
What are you dialing?
The cell phone? Oh, I see what you're saying.
What's a dial? Isn't that more of like, you know?
It's more like, I see what you're saying. Click us up.
It should be push button us up or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never really thought.
Well, there was the old rotary dial phone. Yeah. So that's where that expression comes from.
I remember.
I'll see if I can come up with one for black and white television when I'm talking about that. Dial us up. 766-9480. You used to stick your finger in and rotate the phone.
Or even the pre-touchscreen cell phones, you would dial like the do.
Yep.
On the razors.
The old buttons.
I remember those things. When you're mad, you just close it, end the phone call.
Yep. 766-9480. That new cell phone that opens like that Galaxy or whatever, that opens this way, I'm like, that's genius.
Yeah.
That's badass.
That is kind of cool. I just don't know too many people with those.
Nope, me neither. Not yet. I think it's pretty new. 766-9480. Yeah, election day in New Orleans, 2 weeks from Saturday. I still think nothing's changed. 50-50 chance Helena Moreno wins in the primary. There'll be no runoff. 50-50 chance. And if there is a runoff, I don't see how anyone can catch Helena Moreno. 766-9480. Have upsets happen? Sure. Joseph Gow beat Bill Jefferson. Joseph Gow beat nine-term U.S. Congressman Bill Jefferson. So can upsets happen? Sure. We got the Pelicans. We got the Hornets from North Carolina. Basketball, crazy North Carolina. We got the Hornets. They went sour on that team, and we got them. Yet they have just the perfect storm, a hotbed for hoops going sour. That'd be like us in New Orleans. We don't like the Saints and LSU football anymore. We don't like football anymore. And then some place that's, basketball hungry grabs our team. So that was a big upset. Down in Chalmette, Battle of 1812 against the British, another big upset. No, it could happen. I just doubt it's going to happen. There's a reason they call them big upsets. It's a super low percentage of happening. Speaking of the mayor, oh my goodness, it's so nice, huh? We're almost in October, like 3 months, and this lunatic is gone. Junket Cantrell pulls the request for the family vacation in Iceland. I don't know what's going on. They looked up the costs. I forgot I got to pay for this myself. I can't use the council credit card and front it. Line of credit. Uh-oh. Anyway, she was expected to receive permission from the court where she could travel. Now that's not happening. Jimmy Kimmel returns to ABC tomorrow night. Jimmy Kimmel tomorrow night returns to his show on ABC. I'm sure he'll have huge ratings. I would imagine. I don't know if I've ever watched Jimmy Kimmel in my life. I've seen some social media clips, but I've never watched Jimmy Kimmel's show. Anyway, he returns tomorrow night from ABC. A lot of folks on the right are like, Jimmy Kimmel lied. He was saying Charlie Kirk was murdered by this, right winger. And Charlie Kirk was murdered by a left-leaning person. Charlie Kirk was murdered by a, psychopath, someone who has mental issues. The FCC chairman should have never threatened ABC the way he threatened him. Ted Cruz said, this isn't right, and it'll be some future FCC chairman will use it against conservatives, and he's right. That's what's great about America. It's not easy. Freedom's tough. First Amendment's tough. The FCC is a necessary entity, but when no rules have been broken by the FCC's own rules and regulations, which are fine, I think anyone that saw what rules could be broken, what the rules are, you would agree with them. There's nothing close to any of it. Hoax, none of that. This wasn't planned. It was, people like Jimmy Kimmel lied. Jimmy Kimmel didn't lie. Jimmy Kimmel assumed and made a mistake. He didn't lie. He didn't go, I know the truth and I'm going to say the opposite. That would be lying. No one knew what the truth was at that moment. Jimmy Kimmel assumed. He wanted to believe it was a right winger. He hoped it was a right winger. He's a left-leaning guy, hardcore. But he was wrong. He assumed. All the right wingers at that very moment that were saying it was a left-wing guy, he was left-wing, they were wrong. They were assuming. Now the end result, they can go, no, I was right. But you didn't know at that point. You were just hoping and wanting to believe, just like Jimmy Kimmel. The facts weren't in yet to come to a logical conclusion on who the shooter was, who the murderer of Charlie Kirk was. So Jimmy Kimmel didn't lie. He assumed. But the FCC should have never threatened ABC with, take care of Jimmy Kimmel or we'll take care of you. And Ted Cruz was right. His analogy was like a mob thing. I think he used a bar. Hey, I know you're the owner of the bar. We're going to become partners or there won't be a bar. He was saying it was like a mob movie. He's right. It was like a mob movie. No, just not cool for the FCC chairman was as bad as Kimmel, just a different way. No, Kimmel didn't lie. He assumed, and there's a difference. And if you can't see that, then you're not paying attention. I'm not cutting Kimmel any slack. I don't watch his show. I don't like Jimmy Kimmel. But to say he lied, like amp it up, no, he just assumed, which is bad enough. But the folks that ended up being right were wrong to assume as well. I mentioned George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin. I'll never forget when that story broke. White folks were like, man, Trayvon Martin, this black kid, what's he doing in the white neighborhood? I'm on George Zimmerman's side. George Zimmerman was justified shooting him. The white guy, George Zimmerman, who was Latino. And then the black folks were like, who's this white guy, George Zimmerman, shooting the black kid? A typical American BS. And they assumed it was a white guy, George Zimmerman, who was Latino. And no one knew who was right, Trayvon Martin or George Zimmerman at that point. But these white folks with assumptions, generalizations, they felt compelled to have a, opinion before facts were in. And these extreme black folks that felt compelled to have an opinion before the facts in, same situation. No, someone, I guess, is going to be right. Someone's going to be wrong in that situation. But I don't know. I wait for the facts before I make a decision because I'm not on a team. I'm not, hope he's right. Hope this person's right. I hope Trayvon Martin's right and George Zimmerman's wrong. I hope Zimmerman's right and Trayvon Martin's wrong. Wherever the facts are, we'll go from there. Hope or want anything. Hope it didn't happen. 766-9480. No, when Jimmy Kimmel was live on his show or 30-minute tape delay, whatever it is, at that night, no one knew the murderer's left or right wing at all. No one knew. The government didn't know. The FBI didn't know. No one knew at that point. And Kimmel certainly did not know. So what he wanted to believe, what he hoped was true, he went with that and assumed and made an ass out of himself. But he didn't lie. And there's a difference. Because lying would be like Kimmel knew the truth and went the opposite way anyway. It wouldn't have been part of his monologue. He didn't know. But his whole thing was laughing that you right-wingers, it's a left-wing guy that did it. Nope. And not that it's like a left-wing guy. It's some guy who's got mental problems, obviously. 766-9480. Regardless, tomorrow night on ABC, Jimmy Kimmel returns. I doubt I'll be watching it because I've never watched Jimmy Kimmel in my life. I'll just catch the monologue on social media. 766-9480. Holla.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-JC.com, your cool spots.
Word is, one of the best restaurants in New Orleans isn't even in New Orleans. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Cross the lake and taste what you're missing. Tuesday through Saturday. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville.
Isn't it time to have that dream backyard you've always wanted? LGD Lawn and Landscapes can make it happen with artificial turf installation. Synthetic turf gives you the look and feel of natural grass. You get a beautiful lawn without the ongoing expenses of maintenance and no puddles, meaning you won't be tracking grass or dirt into the house. Let LGD come to your house and give you a free estimate. NOLALGD.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Young's Dry Cleaning with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet. Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line. Lebanon's Cafe.
Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, insagency.com. Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, insagency.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City. The vibe of the Crescent City, Corey Johnson.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, sir.
In Metro New Orleans on 93.9 FM and 107.9 FM. Also from Baton Rouge to Pensacola, Florida on 600 AM and 1560.
Every day, this program's brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex in Kennebra, and also Lamarck Crescent City Ford in Elmwood. Yeah, Lamarck Crescent City Ford's for you commercial truck, van, SUV folks. You own a business, that's where you pick that vehicle up. Every day, brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex and Lamarck Crescent City Ford in Elmwood. Looks like the temperatures are going bye-bye. Kind of pleasant outside. Nice. Summer's on the way out. Thank goodness. And our non-summer season's in front of us. That'll be a nice relief for the next 5 or 6 months. Not the heat and humidity of summer. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. 766-9480. Old Triple B, I saw him again, Mario Brothers, a.k.a. Latinx. Old Triple B. You're supposed to ask, who's Triple B? You're just going to nod yes, like you know who Triple B is?
Who's Triple B?
Do you know who Triple B is?
No.
Why are you nodding yes over there like you're happy just to hear that?
I don't know. You tell me.
You weren't you compelled to be like, who's Triple B?
Who's Triple B? My mind goes to LeVar Ball because of Big Baller Brand.
He's this guy on River Road I see every now and then. Okay. He's the most bow-legged guy I've ever seen. Like it's just bow-legged like you wouldn't believe. And the guy's like I'm guessing about 70 or so. And he's barefoot. So he walks around, not on the levee side of River Road, on the house side of River Road, on like people's grass and the sidewalk, barefoot, and he's bow-legged. And he happens to be balding. So I call him Triple B. He's got the rim, bow-legged, barefoot, and balding. He's Triple B, Mario Brothers.
Not good bees.
I named him after seeing him so many times. It's he's an oddity, I guess. There's that dude in Metairie who like juggles the sticks. I don't know if he's still around. Yeah. Jogs and juggles these sticks while he's jogging. I know. These aren't, I'm not saying they've got problems or they're abnormal. But that isn't normal behavior. Like, not saying it's crazy. I'm just saying normal behavior. If someone jogs, throwing the sticks, that's great. I mean, you get even more exercise. The walking, I think that's a benefit. But he's barefoot and he's bow-legged and he's bald.
Defining characteristics.
He's Triple B. Yeah. I've seen him. He's on the loose. 766-9480, another New Orleans character. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. A lot to discuss, like the mayoral election this Saturday. Everybody, what? 2 weeks from this Saturday. 2 weeks from this Saturday, 19 days away, we might elect a new mayor. Jimmy Kimmel returns to ABC tomorrow night, 766-9480. 766-9480. Corey Johnson with you. Boy, I love Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. I'll probably head there tomorrow or Wednesday for lunch. The $21 3-course meal lunch special, so tough to beat. You get a nice salad, a house salad with your choice of, they have like 6 dressings, all homemade. chef-driven, fantastic dressings. And then you have 3 entrees to choose from. The shish kebab that comes sizzling in butter with green beans, unbelievable. The catfish almondine with the Meunier sauce and the toasted almonds on top, unbelievable. Half a soft-shell crab and grits. Those are the 3 entree choices. Half a soft-shell crab, catfish almondine. I usually get the shish kebab sizzling in butter. So damn good. And then you get the ooey gooey dessert, a little hot piece of cake or brownie with some vanilla ice cream and chocolate sauce on top. $21. Gallagher's $5.27. Or you can get the 3-course fantastic lunch that I'll get sometimes. Start with a cup of gumbo. Get the crab meat St. Francis appetizer, arguably the best jumbo lump crab meat, Louisiana crab meat appetizer on planet Earth. Crab meat appetizer, period. It's Louisiana jumbo lump. So I shouldn't even have to say that. Just best crab meat appetizer anywhere. Comes in this little ramekin. It's piping hot. It's not an au gratin. There's no cheese in this dish. Just so much flavor. Incredible. Maybe the best jumbo lump crab meat or crab meat dish you'll eat anywhere. I'm telling you. I think it's fantastic. It is as good as it gets. It's Warren LaRousse recipe. Pat Gallagher says it best. The crab meat's the star of that dish. And then I finish with the shish kebab. So the gumbo, the crab meat St. Francis appetizer, and the shish kebab. That's a great 3-course lunch at Gallagher's, $5.27 in Mandeville. The $21 lunch special is really tough to beat. Salad, entree choice, and dessert. $21. Gallagher's, $5.27 in Mandeville. They're not open today. Sunday and Monday, they're closed. But tomorrow, Tuesday through Friday for lunch. Tomorrow, Tuesday through Saturday for dinner. Get there this week. You'll be glad you did. You South Shore folks, I've mentioned it too many times. Gallagher's, $5.27 in Mandeville. If you go, 2 things are going to happen. One, you're going to go, my God, Corey was right. This is already one of my favorite restaurants. What a great dining experience. Fantastic. And 2, it's going to be on your regular rotation, you South Shore folks. You'll be like me every few weeks. Man, I got to get me some of that Gallagher's, $5.27. It's that good. Get there this week. Gallagher's, $5.27 in Mandeville. 2 weeks from Saturday, October 11th election. Yeah, Helena Moreno's got a 50-50 chance of winning this thing outright. And I don't know if it goes to a runoff. Honestly, I don't know if it's Oliver Thomas or Royce Duplessis. I think that divisive commercial Royce Duplessis put out hurt him. A week ago today, I had on Brad Coker from Mason-Dixon. He conducted that poll where Royce Duplessis went from 2nd place to 3rd. Went down to 11%. He was like high teens. He lost like almost 10%, almost cut his vote in half. And I think that negative commercial had something to do with it. It was released and the poll took place later that week, so people got to see it. I talked about it. I played that spot a bunch of times, too many to count. They should have paid me. I played it so many times. Huh, Mario Brothers? We played that thing, what, about 8 or 10 times?
Oh, yeah.
Just over and over. It was on a loop. When I had Royce Duplessis on the show, we played it and asked him about it.
Yeah, I had it bookmarked at one point.
Yep. 766-9480. No, the latest numbers have Helena Moreno at 51%. Oliver Thomas at 16, Royce Duplessis at 11. There's maybe 12 to 15% undecided, but this is what's interesting. Check out the percentages of the undecided. Men, 10%. Women, 20%. White, 6% undecided. Black, 22% undecided. So 20% women, 22% black, 10% men, 6% white. Brad Coker agreed with me, like 7 out of 10 of the 15% that's undecided, 7 out of 10 are black females. Now I've said black females, black women are going to elect this mayor. They elect any at-large, person in New Orleans. They're the number one voting bloc. 7 out of 10 of the undecided are black females. Now, Helena Moreno really does well with women, 47%, to Oliver Thomas's 16, to Royce Duplessis's 10. So she's 3-1 on Oliver Thomas and nearly 5 times with women on Royce Duplessis. But when you talk about the black population, men and women, Helena Moreno still leads at 33%, but Oliver Thomas is at 27. Now, the margin of error on this poll is 4%, but that's just with the, general election question. It's 4%. Helena Moreno at 51, Oliver Thomas at 16, Royce Duplessis at 11. When you break down the poll to men, women, black and white, you're lowering the number of people. You're increasing the percentage of, error. So 4% goes to probably more like 8%. So if Helena Moreno's got 33% of the black vote to Oliver Thomas's 27, Oliver Thomas could actually be leading in black vote, according to this Mason-Dixon poll and their margin of error, which would be about 8% or so at that point. So Oliver Thomas, if he can tap into these black female undecided voters and lure them to his side, he might be able to keep Helena Moreno under 50% and force a runoff, which I don't think he or Royce Duplessis can win. I think Helena Moreno will end up being mayor. Will she win in a primary 2 weeks from Saturday? 766-9480. 766-9480. Audubon Gutters put gutters on my house. They can do the same for you. If you're in Metro New Orleans, you need gutters for your home or business, audubongutters.com. They don't do paint. They don't do roofs. They don't do siding. They don't do windows. They don't do construction. All they do is gutters for your home or business, audubongutters.com. New Orleans Audubon Gutters for 35 years. Jimmy Kimmel returns to the airwaves of ABC tomorrow night. His indefinite suspension is definite through tonight. Tomorrow night, Jimmy Kimmel returns. What do you say about that? 766-9480. 766-9480. Honestly, I don't watch Jimmy Kimmel. I don't care if he comes back or not. I'm not spending a lot of time outside this program talking about it. I don't think about it, not wasting much energy on it. Don't really care, but he's coming back. One thing I will say, and I'm not defending Jimmy Kimmel, a lot of the right, extreme, especially that have opinions, squeaky wheels, Jimmy Kimmel lied. Jimmy Kimmel lied. Jimmy Kimmel didn't lie. Jimmy Kimmel assumed. At the time that Jimmy Kimmel made his proclamation that it wasn't a right winger that, shot Charlie Kirk. It wasn't a right winger. It was a left winger. Jimmy Kimmel said the opposite. It wasn't some liberal left winger that did it. It was a Trump MAGA type right winger. And that's what the info he had at the time. Not enough info from either side to come to any kind of a logical fact-based conclusion. No, so Jimmy Kimmel didn't lie. He assumed. He went with what he wanted to believe, what he hoped was true. And the folks on the right at that time that were saying it was some leftists, they may have ended up being right, but at that time they were wrong to assume as well. 766-9480. Dial us up.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, insagency.com. Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, insagency.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live, we live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's called more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
South Shore residents that love good food are making the short trip across the lake to Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. North Shore folks have known about Gallagher's 527 for years. Now the South Shore has discovered this hidden gem. One of the metro area's best restaurants is less than 30 minutes away. Take the quick trip across the lake and experience Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. As good as it gets.
Here's New Orleans native son, Corey Johnson.
Native son, great New Orleanian. No, that's me.
In Metro New Orleans on 93.9 FM and 107.9 FM.
New Orleans native son. No, that's me. That's me, lady. Yeah, you, right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you on a Monday afternoon. Hopefully we're jettisoning these 90s. I don't see us back in the 90s maybe to like April or May. Weather looks good. I think, we got 2 seasons, summer and non-summer, and I think we're heading to our non-summer season. I'm digging that. Bye-bye heat and humidity. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. The Saints get ripped in Seattle. The Green Wave gets ripped in Oxford. LSU wins big against Southeastern of Hammond. This week, man, you got a really big game for LSU. 4th-ranked LSU. Ole Miss is like 10th or 11th in Oxford. Should be a good one. Brett Martell joins us live. It's another Martell Monday. 5 o'clock powwow on a Monday on the neutral ground. What up, Brett?
Hey, Corey. I'll probably be at that game in Oxford.
Nice.
But, yeah, I'm not sure yet. But
they might send your Memphis AP colleague instead.
Yeah, we don't have I don't really have a full-time Memphis AP colleague.
Oh, boy. Nashville?
Freelancers there. Huh?
Nashville?
Nashville, yeah. Teresa Walker's in Nashville.
There you go. It's you or her, huh?
Yeah. How far is Nashville from Oxford?
That's a good question. That's
pretty far, I think.
I think it's probably like the same as New Orleans to Oxford. Mario Brothers is Googling it right now. We're going to find out, Brett. New Orleans to Oxford's like 6 hours. I would think it's the same.
It's 4 hours.
How much? Just 4 flat?
4 hours, 7 minutes. Yeah. 257 miles.
257. Yeah, that's a little closer, Brett. It's 3-something from New Orleans, I think.
Well, the thing is, though, I cover LSU, and Ole Miss is also technically in my coverage area now.
Gotcha. Stay in Nashville.
So yeah, but 13 is the ranking for Ole Miss.
What's that?
Number four against number 13. Ole Miss is 13 right now.
Ole Miss slipped. I thought they were 11th.
No, they were 13 and remain 13. LSU slipped from 3 to 4.
Gotcha. Okay, and that's the AP poll, of course.
Yeah, and I was expecting maybe Ole Miss would go up after beating Tulane like they did, because Tulane wasn't exactly a slouch coming in.
Yep.
But I don't know. I guess the teams ahead of them mostly won, and they just didn't move up.
All right, let's knock out the bad news first. We'll talk Tulane in a second. But the Saints, man, I'll be honest with you, Brett. I went to lunch with my mom and my brother. I went home and fell asleep. I woke up and it was 33-3. And I was supposed to watch the second half with my mom. I called my mom. She's like, don't even come over. I'm changing the channel. So I did not watch a minute of that Saints game. I just watched some low lights or highlights like the blocked punt, the punt return, Barisi with the stupid penalty where they had a stop on third down. The first 2 weeks, I was like, this is fine. You know, am I happy they're losing? No, but they're losing to teams that are playoff caliber teams that have, you know, talent all across the roster. The Saints don't. So I was kind of happy. I was like, you know, all I want is progress. Too many penalties, but I thought they were, you know, they weren't killing themselves. Yesterday was the opposite. Undisciplined, same amount of penalties, 10, 11 penalties. It was obnoxious. They had 10 penalties like at the half. It was just crazy. And there's just not a lot of talent out there. You know, I don't blame Rattler one bit. I think he's playing pretty good the first 3 games. If he was surrounded by offensive and defensive talent, Saints might have 1 or 2, 3 victories by now. I don't blame Rattler, but the Saints the cupboard's pretty bare, Brett, and it's going to be a long, long season. There's no fixing this year.
Yeah, I heard someone refer to the Saints as Ditka bad, which of course, you know, is a reference to the late 90s, and they were pretty bad back then. Yeah, Rattler, you know, he's inexperienced still, relatively, right? I mean, he's in his second year. He has 9 career starts, lost them all. But, you know, even Sean Payton used to say with Drew Brees, when Drew would have tough games, which we forget he did have a tough one, that there's a lot of things that go into making a quarterback look good or bad, not just the quarterback. It's, you know, it's the blocking and not just how much time he has to throw, but the shape of the pocket. Does he have his usual passing lanes and his good vision to make his read? You know, are the receivers in their routes cleanly? Are they, you know, on time to the spot where they're supposed to be, or are they getting, you know, kind of manhandled to the line of scrimmage by the guy that's trying to cover them, you know, in those first 5 yards when they're allowed to make contact and getting knocked off their route and the timing off. So all those things, you know, go into it. So there's a lot there, you know, and I think that Kellen Moore alluded to the same things when he was saying that he thought that Spencer Rattler, you know, played pretty well overall with what he had to work with. And also, you know, just in light of, again, his relative, you know, lack of experience, and in particular his lack of experience with a winning team. So, yeah, it's tough. Now, the theme today at Saints camp, Kellen Moore, was that, you know, he has experienced himself and seen a lot in the NFL where teams get blown out, and it sort of forces them to reset, and they're able to respond really well going forward. Now, what that means for the Saints compared to what it meant for the Eagles last year, you know it's not going to be the same. But Moore was referencing the 33-16 loss that the Eagles had to Tampa Bay in Week 4 last season. It dropped the Eagles 2-2. Then they won 15 out of the next 16 games, including the Super Bowl. So the Saints aren't going to do that most likely, but that's kind of what his theme was today.
No, I think that's a good theme, and hopefully he can right the ship where, you know, at the end of the year the Saints are going to have like 4 wins tops, you know, just like I said, and hopefully they're a more disciplined team and they're playing well. I mean, that's all you can hope for, Brett. Like, when this team is successful, if this team is successful again under Kellen Moore, this roster will have 25 players, 30 players that aren't on it now that'll be on the new roster. So it's, I mean, you look at the Saints team, you're like, forget about players because they're only like 2 or 3. We know there are like Kamara, left tackle, maybe a corner. That's about it. I mean, there's not a lot of superstar talent. Name me a position where this team's strong or just really viable. There's not one. It's not O-line. It's not D-line. It's not linebacker. It's not running back. It's not wide receiver. It's not quarterback, DB, none of it. There's not a single position. So that coupled with you don't have about, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10 all-star types, great known players that could play anywhere. You got maybe 2 or 3. It's just, you can't overcome that. You can't bring in free agents. You can't get players from the transfer portal. This 2024 Saints, exactly what you see is exactly what you're going to get, That's it.
Yeah. 2025, you mean?
Yeah, I mean 2025 Saints. I mean, what until next season and probably 2 years. Like next year, I would just say you got 4 wins. You get to like 8, 9 wins, make the playoffs great. No problem. It's year 3 where you got to kind of kick the door down. That's how down this team is. That's how little talent this team has. Do you agree with that?
I mean, I think you're right that they don't have one position group where you would say it's a dominant position group relative to the rest of the league. They just have some really good players. They have also some very accomplished players, but players maybe who are, on the backside of their careers and not what they once were, right?
Yep.
Like Demario Davis, who's still playing pretty well overall. And Cam Jordan was actually playing, he looked somewhat rejuvenated and he's played okay. They didn't have 1 sack yesterday. And, now the defensive front did okay against the run game. I mean, they only rushed for 87 yards, Seattle did. And their top 2 backs only averaged 2.5 yards a carry. So, and they weren't getting gashed in the run or anything, but there were so many miscues all over the place. I mean, on defense, they had 3rd down penalties that extended drives. On offense, they had pre-snap penalties that ruined drives. Then there was, obviously the punt block, the 60-yard kickoff return, the 95-yard punt return for a touchdown. I mean, the first interception of the year thrown by Rattler, and it's just it was a bad look. It was a really bad game. First time in I think franchise history they gave up more than 35 points in the first half. And the first time since 2011 and maybe 222 games that they had a punt blocked, one of their own punt blocks. So there was a whole lot of bad definitely in that game. And, Moore is hoping that in this case, it'll be an instance where, they're all professionals. They have livelihoods at stake. They have people who depend on them. He thinks, he's hoping they'll lock in. He said, hopefully we'll lock in together. We'll draw closer as a team. And this will be a pivotal point in the season for us where we, are definitely able to do the things that are in their control a lot better than they have so far. Minimize the instances in which they're just giving away stuff.
Yeah.
Force other teams to take it, do more of forcing other teams to take it from them if they're going to lose.
When you just have a big kickoff return, you have a punt return for a touchdown, you have a block punt, you have a stop the team, on 3rd down, and then you have a headbutt penalty, which gives them a, first down and 15 yards. That's so many mistakes, Brett. I just don't know how you fix that. When you have that many in one game, you're going to have at least 1 or 2 of those like in every game. I just don't know how you fix so many special teams problems. And the reason you're having so many special teams problems is because you lack talent all across the board. When special teams will have some of your best players out there that started other positions, playing special teams. And when you don't have stars starting in other positions, you're going to suffer at special teams. We'll come back in a second, Brett. We're going to knock out a quick break and come back with more. Brett Martell's with us, a Martell Monday. Young's Dry Cleaning. They've been with you since 1940, 85 years of excellence. YoungsDryCleaning.com. Walk-up locations, free pickup and delivery, manless locker locations all over the city. To experience the best, youngsdrycleaning.com. More with Brett Martell. It is a Martell Monday. Corey Johnson with you till 6 o'clock on radio, on television, on YouTube, on Twitter at Corey Johnson right now.
For
live.
game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again. Ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now.
Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Word is, one of the best restaurants in New Orleans isn't even in New Orleans. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Cross the lake and taste what you're missing. Tuesday through Saturday. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, no cool spots. TM-AC.com, no cool spots.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe. Some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab. Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe.
New Orleans talk giant, Corey Johnson, on the neutral ground.
I'll have the entire city of New Orleans in the palm of my hand.
In Metro New Orleans on 93.9 FM and 107.9 FM. Also from Baton Rouge to Pensacola, Florida on 600 AM and 1560.
Can you imagine your house with a synthetic turf backyard? Your backyard around the pool, or even if you don't have a pool, no more puddles, no more tracking mud, dirt, grass into the house. LGD Lawn and Landscapes. You've probably seen the trucks tooling around the metro area. LGD Lawn and Landscapes can install synthetic turf in your backyard, chipping and putting greens even. And not only beautiful, but functional. Take your game to a whole new level and zero maintenance. Zero maintenance. Sin Lawn is the product they use, the best in the industry. Same as Tiger Woods' TGA Golf Tour. Same turf they use. Get an absolutely free estimate on installation of artificial turf, synthetic turf in your backyard. Even an artificial putting and chipping green in your backyard. NOLA nola.lgd.com. nola.lgd.com. Corey Johnson with your 5 o'clock powwow on a Monday. Brett Martell's with us. Brett, the Saints get ripped in Seattle and the Green Wave get ripped in Oxford.
Yep. Well, first of all, I want a putting green. But
you got space in your backyard?
Maybe behind my garage, yeah.
There you go. LGD Lawn and Landscapes, Brett. Call them up. Get a free estimate.
I know. And 527 or Gallagher 527 ad reminded me of the time you and I ate there after playing at Beauchamp once. That was really good.
Yep. Isn't that place good?
Yeah, excellent. Yep.
Yep.
So, but Greenway, a very disappointing game for them, right? Because I think we thought that if they didn't have to win that game, and they, if they weren't competitive, it was going to be really hard for them to control their own destiny as far as being one of the small or the mid-major conference teams that, crack the 12-team college football playoff. So,
I mean, maybe I'm wrong, Brett, and another team has a better record or the same record and gets in or whatever. If Tulane loses another game because of the way they lost to Ole Miss, I think they're out of the playoff if they're 10-2. I don't see. Right. I think they got to run the table. Like if they would have played a close game, a competitive game with Ole Miss, maybe they could afford another loss somewhere, but they'd still have to win the conference, play for the conference championship, and win that to get that at-large playoff bid. So I think they got to run the table now.
Possibly. I mean, we have to see what the other teams who also may be in contention do down the stretch, and maybe they'll have a little more margin for error. But right now, I think it's fair to say they can't assume that they have any margin for error now. And again, maybe John Summerall is hoping that the same thing will happen with Tulane that Kellen Moore would like to see happen with the Saints. And so kind of refocus. I mean, I was surprised, honestly. I mean, because we're talking about a Tulane team that beat Duke, which turned around and had a decent win of its own, I want to say, against NC State on Saturday. They also beat Northwestern. I mean,
see, but that's sort of the problem, though, Brett. Like for an Ole Miss, they're like, we're an SEC team. Tulane fans and us locally, like, hey, Tulane's beat some Power 4 teams, but no one's impressed by Northwestern or Duke's football programs,
Well, it's true, but you would think that Tulane would be more competitive, though. I wasn't going to say that Tulane should even be favored or that Tulane would even lose, we even be within 10 points of them. But you thought they would be closer than they were, right? And that just everything went wrong in that game.
Yeah, no, you're right.
For them.
I thought the spread, though, when I saw 12.5, I'm like, the sucker bet is Tulane. The Vegas crew thinks Ole Miss is going to roll over the Wave, and they were right.
And Ole Miss had, and they had it covered in the first quarter, basically.
Yep.
Yeah. And so that was the way to go there. So look, they're going to have to do a lot better going forward, regardless of their competition level. I mean, they're just going to have to be way better locked in, better prepared.
Yep.
Fewer mistakes and so forth. But I think the big problem for Tulane, one of the big problems, is that they just don't quite have the receiver strength that they had in terms of, just speed and ability to get open and so forth that they had last year. They lost Mario Williams, obviously, who had, well over 1,000 yards receiving. And without receivers who are really good at getting separations, it hasn't been as easy for Restloff to do too much with his feet. I think one of the biggest plays they had really was just him scrambling. And then the other problem Tulane had, obviously, is some big fourth down failures. I mean, they could have gotten back into the game in the third quarter. They had two chances to kind of make it respectable, and they failed on fourth down both times, including,
after decent drives. Yep.
Yeah. And their defense had gotten stopped there. Their defense basically had gotten stopped to start the third quarter, and Tulane had a chance to do something and just couldn't do it, and then they kind of let go of the rope after that.
Yeah, they got Tulsa up next. Hey, Brett, let's stay in Oxford. Ole Miss will be hosting another Louisiana team, another national televised game. It'll be at 2:30. LSU going to Oxford after that tune-up against Southeastern of Hammond. This is going to be a great game. I mean, Ole Miss, their offense is pretty powerful, diverse, and they just keep running plays. They're very fast going to the next play. So LSU's going to have trouble making substitutions and the like, but Blake Baker, I'm sure, is up to task, and Ole Miss's defense maybe not as stout as last year. So if LSU wants to win, it's pretty simple. Garrett Nussmeier in the offense just has to play a regular game, has to have a decent game. They do that, LSU wins. If LSU plays like they've been playing all year, great defense, kind of suspect offense, Ole Miss can win that game easily.
Well, it's definitely the biggest test for both teams now, right? Because if you look at LSU's 2 wins, I mean, Florida hasn't done well, neither has Clemson. So I think it comes down to, Ole Miss has really found something with that Division II transfer QB, a mobile QB who can make things happen with his feet. But here with Harold Perkins, kind of pursuing him from the other side of the line of scrimmage, that could be the X factor that could really force the Ole Miss offense.
Yeah, that's a great point.
They're going to need Perk to come up big like he did a couple years ago against them.
Yep. Hey, Brett, always a pleasure. How can folks check you out on the AP?
Yeah, apnews.com or the AP News app on your phone. Free for smartphone news from all over the world.
Always a pleasure, Brett. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Bye, Blue Boy.
Here's Brett Martell saying bye to Blue Boy. Here's Blue Boy barking up a storm. He says it's Monday. He knows we're going for a walk soon, getting some kibble. Want some human food mixed in there. I hear you, Blue Boy. I'll see you tomorrow, Tuesday, 4 o'clock. Be right here, New Orleans and beyond, right here at 4 tomorrow. Mañana.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 6 p.m.